Let the hot takes fly. Jays and Giants updates around the bases. Box scores, big moments running through the paces. Giants orange burn and Jays blue proud. From the cove to the dome, turn it up loud.
New name, same baseball talk. Welcome to Around the Bases. We figured if we were talking ball every week, we might as well take you, well, around the bases. I'm Almar, he's Armando, and today we're keeping it simple. Giants and Blue Jays off season to spring training. Let's talk baseball.
Well, let's go around the bases with the Giants' spring update and off-season updates. So I think the biggest topic is that the new general manager, Tony V. Uh, that was a big off-season move, letting go of old skipper Bob, but they went with the college coach in the ranks, and so he's coaching his. This is his first month of spring trainer, and it's been up and down. I'm not sure if just Giants media or baseball media are just bored because there's not really a lot of to talk, or they just read it into something out of nothing, right? So, but his first interview with the media on spring training, his first day, Tony V, he just he let it all out in his first meeting. He didn't even ask questions. He just started. He said that, "How did you guys know that I got hired before it got leaked? If I knew that, if I knew the person, or if I knew it was leaked before I got signed, because it was a 4-day process," he said he history would have been different. So he was hinting, if you knew that it got leaked, he would have stayed in college because he doesn't trust reporters. So that was his introduction to baseball media. First day of spring training, he just let it all out. He went on saying that he ended up breaking up with his girlfriend because she didn't want to move to California. He just kind of let it out there. So it was a really rocky first day, and then like obviously the national media got attention into it. There was national writers saying like this is buyer's remorse. He's regretting uh, jumping onto the big leagues, right? So that was just yeah, it was just a wild start, and it just really it pissed off a lot of Giants media. He pissed off the fans, the radio station in San Francisco. He just kind of pissed off a lot of people with this first week, and maybe this just maybe you can act this in college. You can bring a lot of emotions, right? Because it's kind of like you have to rally up. Your players around, but this is the professionals. This is the big show. And there was a couple of the beat writers. They were actually going to Tony V saying like, "Well, yeah, you can't do that. The media will eat you alive if you're this honest." So, anyways, uh, and he bought a house or rented a house near the Scottsdale Stadium, and it's a party house. He got this house so players can come, coaches can come, or friends passing by, they can just stay. It's the ultimate frat house, right? It's just a really college atmosphere. So it's getting I think it all depends on the baseball fan. Someone are laughing, and other people are kind of like, "This is not how you act as a professional, right?" So, but this is what we're going to get as at Tony V. So, what's your thoughts on this interaction? Is this something, or is this just a college coach that needs to be a professional in a sense?
Well, it's good to be honest, right? Tony V will learn quickly, especially in San Francisco. Like you have to tone it down a bit, but honesty is good. But like you said, most fans and the media rubbed him the wrong way because of what he said. But he'll he's a new coach. He's from college, like you said. He'll be all right, but hopefully your San Francisco Giants gets rolling right away. Because if not, then like you said, the media and your fans will eat him alive, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully your Giants gets out of the gate rolling here.
When he said that he had to break up with his girlfriend because she didn't want to move, I burst out laughing. I was like, "Holy cow!" It's like you're literally laying it all out there. Like it's like that was a little that was too much, and I was dying laughing. So, but another I think he just has a lot to learn, right? So he's going with the full lineup, and the Giants are 8-2. Very hot start to the Cactus League, but he's going full roster. Normally, you don't see a full roster, right? Maybe closer to the end, or maybe in the middle, right? You want to see the prospects who are going to be sent to their respective clubs, single A, double A. You want to see those players, right? Like normally that's the kind of what you get used to seeing in the spring training, but he's going full lineup. He's putting all the starters out there. Who knows? Once again, the media is kind of saying like, why is he going with the full lineup? Like, what? So, what do you think? Is this just giant baseball fans or baseball writers just bored, or is this or Tony B is just shaking things up?
Well, you need like something fresh, right? Well, we are living in a time and day now there's a lot of new things that's been going on with baseball. There's no traditional lead off hitters now, right? So
Correct.
you'll see changes in the batting order, and it's good to see. Like
Hmm.
myself, it's good to see that Tony V is like changing things up for your lineup. It might take a while for old school people
Yeah.
to get along with it, but it's good. It's refreshing for me to see that Tony V is like changing everything up for San Francisco Giants, and like I said, hopefully it works out for you
Yeah.
this season and for the next seasons.
I think the only thing that I have is that could we see just a one time, 1 year, and he's going back to the college ranks, right? So I think that's the only concerns that I have with, um, because he keeps talking about Tennessee, and and I think some of the beat writers saying like, let it go. You made a decision. You decided to leave Tennessee. It's time to move on, right? Like we don't want to hear about the SEC. We don't want to talk about college. Uh, we're the Giants, and we want to hear about Giants updates. We want to hear about how the players are doing, not about the SEC. So I think there's just been a growing up, I think that's what when you hire a coach from college. Once again, I think we talked about it last season. We just don't see this type of moves in baseball, right? You see it in basketball, football, right? Coaches jumping ship, right? So I think my only concern is that this might be a 1 year if he's really having buyer's remorse. But it could also be that he was triggered, right? First week of training, spring training was opening day of baseball. There's been a lot of Tennessee fans coming to Scottsdale to see Tony because he was a champion there, right? So he has a fan base. Also, Tennessee, the Bolts, they opened a brand new baseball stadium. So I think he was just triggered in the first week. So that's my opinion. Who knows if it's true? But I think he was just triggered. I think about the lineup. I think we see this every World Baseball Classic because you're going to lose your starters or whoever joins their team's country. I think it's just it happens. You see more of those star players playing more at bats because they want to get ready for not only the start of the season but also for the World Classic. So I think that's just like I think he just wants to see what he has, right? Because he's not going to be able to see them in 2 to 3 weeks, right? Especially if Team USA. goes all the way like the last couple of years, right? So
Yeah, you want flexibility in your lineup anyway. When
mhm.
something like this happens, like there's a WBC right now, and if injuries happen during the season, then he would be able to adjust right away, right?
Right.
And
So
he's coming from college, so give him some time. Come on, San Francisco.
I think that's just going to be like he's going to be criticized in the Posey and Tony B are going to be criticized of this move, right? He's always going to be compared like, oh, you can't do this. This is a college, right? But let's just say we'll add Dusty Baker and Bochy are special assistants to the club, right? So they're there. They're in a sense overshadowing him. Kind of they're there to teach him the ropes, right? So he has a good team around him, right? So if he needs help, but it's definitely some growing pains already. So I think like if we're let's just change topics. One of the things in spring training is the position battle, and one of the position right now is the battles that were. It's the outfield, the fourth and fifth outfielder. Who's going to be? Um, right now, it's pretty much Young Hoo Lee is he's playing right field, right? So the new acquire uh,
Harrison Bader.
Bader and Ramos are going to be those are your three starters, right? But who's going to be the fourth and the fifth, right? And right now, Luis Matos and Juan Encarnacion are kind of like those. First of all, they're out of options, right? They're Luis Matos is in his fifth year of his minor league contract. What are they going to do? Most the rumors is that he's has run out of options that he will probably be released or get traded within this month. He's the only outfielder who's not started a whole game. He's always coming off relief, you know. Um, and I think Juan Encarnacion, which is he meets your typical first baseman, DH, um, corner outfielder, right? Not really. You're there for to provide depth and power, right? So I think for Luis Encarnacion, he's gonna, it all going to depends on Bryce Elfridge if he makes the big league roster. If he makes the big league roster, Bryce as a full time DH or part time first baseman or whatever, that means that Luis Encarnacion will be released as well. So I think that those are the bigger questions, right? Another thing that with the outfielder, last year they traded for the Mets on Gilbert, right? The Mets' top outfielder prospect, right? So he's injured right now, but he's going to be either making the roster or he's going to be like refining his craft in AAA, right? So I think those are. It's sad because at one point, and we see this top prospects they don't pan out, right? We see this in baseball all the time. And Luis Matos, at one point, he was a top prospect for the Giants, and when his fifth year, he's out of option. So, give me give me your thoughts on Luis Matos and Juan Encarnacion.
Yeah, I just want to know which depth chart are you looking at? Because I'm looking at ESPN right now, and Luis Matos is not even here.
Oh, this is just the Giants one, right? So,
Yeah, I have Gerard Encarnacion as your fourth outfielder here, behind Heliot Ramos, Harrison Bader, and Yang Ho Lee. And like you said, if you don't have any options, like if this is not the final depth chart anyway. I'm just
no,
looking at it right now, but Luis Manos is not here. But if Luis Manos is out of option, then he'll be the fourth or fifth outfielder coming up for the 26th man roster in opening day. That's not even a question, right? Unless you trade him, because you can
yeah,
set him down. But I do think Bryce Eldridge will be your primary DH. So I love his raw power. So I'm looking forward to actually seeing Bryce Eldridge really play this season. behind Rafael Devers, and maybe they can switch back and forth. Rafael Devers DH, and then Bryce Eldridge play first base. But
Yeah,
as primary DH, I like to see Bryce Eldridge this season.
I think everybody wants to see him, right? And the Giants are giving him the opportunity. It's his job to lose. That was going into spring training. I think in the first 10 games of Cactus League, um, I think there's some rumors saying like he will probably start at AAA and then eventually just for the quick sting, right? Maybe at the first month, because he needs to control. He needs to have play discipline right now. So he is striking out a lot, even. But let's just say he was not like a Juan Soto who was just destroying every step. Right? He yes he did jump like he went from he had like 500 plate appearances in Double A and under 300 plate appearances in Triple A. Right? It's not a lot, right? So and it's not like he's killing it, right? He showed flashes of his potential, right? So, but I think it's his job to lose. Yeah, and I think yeah, and let's move on from that. I like Luis Matos. I think I don't think he's been given the fair opportunity. Right? He's been playing kind of like he's been sharing those alpha positions the last 3 years, and I don't think he hasn't been given like, hey man, like this is your position. You know, change our mind, right? And I think like when you have limited bats or playing time, you can't really grow, right? So I think
Yeah,
that's where my
it's yeah, it's pretty unfortunate for Luis Matos here, especially when your Giants acquired Harrison Bader, which he will be their primary center fielder, and then Young Holy goes to one off the corner outfield, and then someone gets stuck with the other corner right there. But I do hope that Luis Matos can find his game again because like you said, he has like uncovered potential, like he we haven't seen it yet, right? But because he hasn't have the enough playing time,
yeah,
we haven't seen the potential there, but there is potential there, and
yeah, exactly.
unfortunately
So
we can see it.
and maybe he just needs a fresh start somewhere else, right? With opportunity, right? So here comes the Mariners playing. He gets traded to the Marlins. No, I think the other offseason moves that maybe is the ones that they didn't make. And I think I'm really skeptical on this one because they didn't add any pitch into the rotation, any depth to the bullpen. There's a lot of question marks still on the pitching staff here, and I think it's those what stands out the most. The ones that they didn't make. Of course, we talked about it offline, and of course, everybody wants to make a splash for the big free agent pitcher, right? Or trade for a big star. But like, you can't trade your whole farm system for one player. But you could get a veteran out there, a workhorse that maybe he just needs looking for a new start, right? So they didn't add any pitching, and I think that's kind of like that's been the story since 2022. They're gonna count on this young raw talent prospect, and it hasn't worked out. Like the pitching staff, it's great. They have some great key position pitchers, but they haven't been consistent the last 3 4 years. So we're going to another season leaning on the young arms that it's clearly they're not ready. They haven't been put it together. So Burson comes to mind, right? Like he showed not last season, but the year before, he showed flashes and everybody was excited. And then last season, his mental game was not there. He can't control the strike zone. So far in the spring training, same thing. He's walking, he can't control. So it's like you're dependent a lot on young players, and it's the same story. So to me, I'm critical on the pitching staff right now because it wasn't. there was no addition, and we just can't compete against the Dodgers or the Padres in the West, which is it's a hard division if we're not uh, adding players to compete against them, right? So we're built the Buster Posey is building the team on defense, and it shows. He went after Ron Washington, the coach, the famous um, Moneyball infielder coach, right? He's like, it's incredible hard to play first. His famous line, right? So it's incredible difficult to play first base, right? So they went after him because they wanted to teach. They went after Ron because they wanted to teach Devers and Everett and Reza Rice how to play infield, right? So like, so you see that they're playing defense, they're building the team around defense, but you still need the arms. And to me, I'm disappointed, and it's a lot to ask for another third or fourth season to count on your young arms.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on this one, Armando. You can never have enough pitching, and I'll talk about this with the Blue Jays too. Uh, we were hoping that your Giants add even like a third or fourth starter. We're not looking for another Logan Webb, right? But like you said, like your closer Ryan Walker. After that, there's no one there, right? Because
Yeah, it's ugly. There's a
so
lot of notes.
it's kind of worrisome coming into the season without depth in the pitching and in the bullpen, especially with Logan Webb and Robbie Ray up there. They're one of the best 1-2 punch in the league last season, but you need that third or fourth starter just to compete with everyone else, especially with the with what you mentioned, the Dodgers and the Padres in the West there. But yeah, we were hoping that your Giants add another pitcher, but
Yeah,
they
I
didn't do it.
think
They didn't do it.
since since 2001, like it's been Logan Webb and Sonzo, right? So I think with Robbie Ray, that what concerns me is that just a year and a half ago, he was still recovering from Tommy John. So it's like, what if he has? I think there's a lot of concerns, well, at least for me, that he can have a setback or tweak. Like especially older players coming off from Tommy John, like it's a long process for them, right? So to be full recovery, so he can go down at any time, and you need the pitching, you need the depth, and I would have liked to see that. I'm not saying go trade for a screwball, right? But like, there's other pitchers out there, right? No,
Yeah,
yeah, you could have brought Verlander back, right? You could have brought him back to teach the young players still, right? Be a coach, a player coach, right? So, or a mentor to those young pitchers. So, yeah, I think those are the ones that I think that's the off season moves that it didn't happen.
yeah, it's yeah. We both of us were bummed out that
Yeah,
they didn't add anyone to the rotation there in San Francisco.
and I want to touch one more thing on the addition of Luis Arias. I don't know what's wrong with the analytics people. Can you explain to me why is the analytics they dislike players like Luis Arias, a batting champion, over 100 hits per season for multiple teams? Why does analytics hate players like Luis Arias so much?
It's that I've seen this all throughout the off season. That's why he wasn't immediately signed. And when the Giants signed Luis Arias, everyone was laughing at the Giants.
Yes.
It's not it's not actually his hitting. Yeah, people are hating on Luis Arias because they're calling him a singles merchant, but it's the defense and his speed is what's the problem with Luis Arias. He's not a good defender, and hopefully Ron Washington can help with that one. But I don't have a problem with his hitting because he's always like around 300 batting average. It's just the defensive side of his game is the problem for myself, but everyone else is hating the whole Luis Arias thing, and
it's
I just don't get it.
he's been I because this I never really pay much attention to Luis Arias. I just know that he gets on base. His defense does not matter. His defense does not matter. It's ridiculous. He got traded from the Twins to the Marlins, and from the Marlins to the Padres, all because he doesn't make good contact. Have you heard of this? He doesn't make good contact. He makes bad contact. It's like, what? He's been a batting champion. What do you mean he makes bad contact? Right? It's ridiculous. To me, I don't understand. You know what? Tucker was a top free agent, right, this year? And
Yeah,
he got a massive contract, right? You know how many more hits that he had than Luis Arias?
not many, not many.
11. 11 extra hits. You know how many more RBIs he had than Luis Arias?
I know not much too.
10 more RBIs. That is ridiculous. That one somebody Tucker has never been in an MVP discussion before. At least Luis Arias has come in the top five before when he led the batting title for the Marlins and stuff. He's been in the top 10. Tucker has never been. He's never been the RBI guy for the Astros and wherever he has played. He's never been, right? So he just got lucky on a bad offseason, and he was a top prospect. He was a top free agent for somebody who has never been. He's never carried a team to the postseason. He's always been the third or fourth option.
Everyone,
So
Armando, everyone digs the long balls. That's why.
yeah, yeah. I the thing is ridiculous that analytics people will find if Ted Williams or Pete Rose or even Gwen Jr. from like they would have found faults on their games if they were playing in today's baseball. That is ridiculous that a player like Luis Arias, who he had an off season last year, batting 273. How can you a player who's I want that player who's batting 373. Like
Yeah,
it's
if
ridiculous.
I think if Luis Arias was decent fielder and he has decent speed, they will be okay with it because Ichiro slaps the ball all over the infield. He had like what how many 3,000 plus hits, right? And most of them are infield singles.
Yeah,
So
exactly
if
right.
like I said, if Luis Arias had like he did have that defensive inabilities, then
Yeah,
people would not be talking stuff like this against him, right? But then again, there's some flaws on his game. Everyone does,
yeah.
like you said, Tucker has, but like I said, everyone digs the long balls, right?
It wouldn't be around the basis episode if we didn't quote Moneyball, right? So his defense
Yeah.
does not matter. Well,
Ron
that is it for
Washington.
the. Yeah, exactly. It's extremely difficult. Anyways, that is it for the Giants spring training off-season edition.
All right. Thank you, Armando, for your Giants update. And that's your Around the Giants. Here's your Around the Blue Jays update. Okay, so Mad Max is back in Toronto, and I'm telling you right now, somebody in that rotation is feeling the heat, Armando. They
Ooh.
bring Scherzer back on a 1 year deal, about 3 million incentive heavy. Scherzer wanted to be here. His daughter wrote a letter that she wants his dad to stay in Toronto. Look, we always say you can't have enough pitching, and I told you this earlier with your Giants, but at some point you've got like seven guys who think their starters. And Armando, I want to ask you, who do you think will end up in the rotation between Barrios, Lauer, Pons, or Scherzer?
So sure, for sure. Like he's you give him the benefit of a doubt, right? Maybe not seventh innings. You can't really expect that from him, but you could literally have two starters in those games where Searcher is playing, right? So you can have literally your fifth and sixth rotation man's pitching in one game and have like
Yeah,
they can go 3 4 innings, right? So
yeah.
he
That thing.
unless Sorsher says, I want to come off the bench, no one's gonna force him to come off the bench. That's just off the bench, out of the pen, right? So you give him the benefit of the doubt. He's well. I'm hesitant. What we saw this year in the Hall of Fame, I'm hesitant. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer because what happened this offseason within baseball and football, there's no such thing as a first ballot Hall of Famer no more.
Yeah, there's no guarantee now.
There's no guarantee, so I'm hesitant of saying calling him.
Yeah, because Shade Bieber will be starting in the IL. He won't be pitching early this season. He's probably gonna be pitching around April, maybe May, hopefully earlier. But he has
Mhm.
like arm fatigue, so
Yeah, I
Shade
saw
Bieber to
that.
start the season will be in the IL, unfortunately. But adding Scherzer adds another depth to this pitching staff, but remember when Barrios had that problem with the Blue Jays. Not a problem, an issue with the Blue Jays when he wasn't added to the World Series roster,
Yeah.
right? So that's gonna be the
Hey.
problem if yeah, that's gonna be the problem if whether or not if Barrios couldn't make the starting rotation, right? So I don't know what's gonna happen, but I believe Barrios will be in there because you have three locked in right now with
Mhm.
Gossman, Cease, and Yasavage, right? So there's a battle for the for the fourth and fifth starter, maybe a sixth starter, but there's seven of them, so there's not much room. But there's Baseball Classic, so there's gonna be pitchers that gonna be not around the baseball team, so it's gonna be a chance for these players to like shine
Yeah.
during this 3 weeks of World Baseball
Exactly
Classic.
right. So, hey, I don't see nothing wrong with Barrios. He has a chip on his shoulder. Go out there and prove them wrong, right?
Yeah,
Right. So,
I didn't have any problems with what he did. It looked like he abandoned the Blue Jays during the World Series run, but he manned up to it at the start of the spring training when pitchers and catchers reported. He said like, yeah, it was a bad move on his end, but
yeah,
yeah, I like
there.
that own up to him. I love that from Jose Varias, but we'll see what he's up to because he's been a stellar pitcher for the Blue Jays for the past few years, right? So will give him that for the Blue Jays.
Hey, Barricito, he wasn't on the 2010 World Series roster. He wasn't on the playoff roster like at all. And so, and he came up in 2012. He was on the rotation. He was out there like I don't care. He had the mindset I want to be on the roster. Put me in, if I start great. If I come off the pen, great. He wanted to help the team win. So if Barricito and other players can do it too, Barris can do it as well. So
Yeah, and like Lauer had this arbitration, and he actually said that it hurt him that he
right,
wasn't starting for the Blue Jays. That's why he lost that arbitration. And I get that you want your dose, right? And you want
right,
to be a starter. That's what you're like that's what your like dream, right? That's what you're aiming
yeah,
for. Not to be like up and down the minors or like in the bullpen or like switching back and forth. You want to be a starter, but yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Spring training for the starting rotation for the Blue Jays here.
yeah. And well, that's what we love sports, right? So your number one job is to be part of the team, right? So whatever that looks like,
Yeah.
right?
And
So
one more battle here with the Blue Jays here, Armando. Here's a sneaky one outfield battle happening with the Jays. uh, that not a lot of people are talking about. It's basically Jesus Sanchez versus Nathan Lucas here. And they couldn't be more different here, Armando. Sanchez has the power. One swing changes the game type of pop, especially against righties. Then Lucas is a complete opposite. He's a steady batter, good at bats, doesn't make mistakes, and he's solid defensively. And what do you value more here, Armando? We talked about this with Arias, right? Do you value the power of Sanchez or the reliability of Lucas? Who would be your corner outfielder to start the season?
he, um, give me Lucas, right? You need with those big bats. With you just need, you need. Vlad needs help, right? He doesn't need a power hitter. He is the power. Vlad is the power hitter, so you need to be on base. So if he's consistency and he can get on base, right? And I don't know the lineup for the Jays, but like if he can turn the lineup, if he's bottom at the end, he's still on base when Vlad comes in, like it's comes up, like that's great. And so this team is built around Vlad. So however
Yeah.
it's gonna help the team, help Vlad. It's well mostly for him, right? So
Yeah, they were
in my
looking for
opinion,
that. Yeah, they were looking. They're still looking for that two hole hitter, right? Because Nathan
right?
Lucas was the two hole hitter for the like majority of the year and
Yeah,
to end the season to end the World Series season, right? But then again, Jesus Sanchez comes up with like this raw power. It's tantalizing versus righties, right? So we'll see. Like you said, if Nathan Lucas can start the game and then Jesus Sanchez will come off the bench or vice versa, it
I
actually
think
helps the
you
Blue Jays
need
anyway.
consistency, right? Like you
Yeah,
just need consistency. Like I think when that's why I talked about the Giants. Like there's raw talent out there, especially with the pitching staff. But you need to be consistent. That's how you stay in the show, right? That's how when batters go up, step into the batter's box, they're gonna fear you, right? Because they know that you have nasty stuff. But if they step in and if you don't have it to get all together for that appearance, right? Like it's kind of like it's just an up and down, and it's just you need that consistency. And if Lucas provides that, that will ultimately be better for the team.
yeah, I like your answer, and I now realize why you like Luis Arias. Because not a lot of people like Nathan Lucas. I love his defensive metrics, right? He can go corner outfield, like he
Yeah.
can bounce around, and he's reliable in the two hole. But people are like they don't want him as a two hole hitter. He's not the prototypical two hole hitter, right? That we are accustomed to seeing. But yeah, he if he gets on base and then turns the lineup over to like Vlad and Kirk, it'll be nice to see. Like yeah, I understand why you like Luis Arias.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think call me a traditional, right? So I like the tradition of games, right? So sometimes you just need the instinct of the game, right? Like
Yeah,
don't tell me where to stand and when to hold my glove. Like where, how far. Like sometimes it's just instincts, right? It's just reading the batter. Okay, how is he holding his bat, or how is his foot position, right? Sometimes it's just reading it, not looking at a card the whole time, right? So it's
yeah.
like so like yeah, I like the instincts of the sport, right? So
Yeah, and that's gonna be a wrap for the first episode of Around the Bases. Like I said, new name, same passion, and we're just getting started. If you've been rocking with us since Saturday Sliders, we appreciate you. And if you're new here, welcome to the ride. Make sure you follow, subscribe, and share this show. And we'll catch you next week when we continue to bring Blue Jays and Giants update. Until then, we'll see you around the bases.